R/NPD is a support group for those concerned about, self-diagnosed with, or otherwise exhibiting traits commonly associated with narcissism. In this subreddit, discussion often focuses on how they can manage the tendencies associated with the disorder, or otherwise looking to discern through common experiences if they are in the same boat as others, or which specific brand of narcissism will best describe them. By virtue of the subreddit's nature as a support group, these individuals have already taken the first steps in recognising their behavioural patterns, or otherwise are cautious enough to wish to avoid falling into the common trappings of the disorder. However, full-blown narcissists will rarely ever admit any fault or recognise any flaw on their part. Thus, these individuals, while unable to quell their narcissistic tendencies completely, have not gone so far as to be helpless against them. For these people, there is hope. While looking over the subreddit prior to this video, I've seen a lot of posts responded to by narcissists or otherwise derided by outside sources. While the former of these responses is an excellent first step in trying to better oneself, the latter I find to be a reductive act. What I want to do in this series is to offer clinical and professional help to the handful of cases that I can assess on a weekly basis. I believe that the people in this subreddit want to do better for themselves, and while past action and past history aren't forgotten, they don't have to be that way moving forward. My name is Sophia and I'm from Trident Wellbeing. I'm a mind and wellbeing coach, author, martial art instructor and cognitive behavioural specialist. I've worked with narcissists and narcissistic abuse victims and understand how hard the first step of asking for help is, and that it is especially difficult to seek such assistance anonymously. So let's begin. In case 1, posted by Lavender X Sage, who asks, how do you learn to do things for others? People in my life constantly get angry at me for being unreliable and for being selfish, such as not to do my part of the chores or doing as many, if any, nice things for them. I find it very hard to care, so I just don't do them. How do I change this? Do I force myself to do them? And will the caring come? Now, there was one comment that said to learn what they need, then satisfy that need, and I don't exclusively mean material needs. Now, a reply from Lavender is that this is really hard because I don't care about fulfilling their needs. While a lack of empathy is distinctly a narcissistic trait, it is not uncommon for people to primarily look out for themselves. We all have an element of narcissism. However, the distinguishing factor here is the degree to which empathy or lack thereof is considered. Now, I would put it to you to think about the secondary gain this gives you. Sure, you can do as the above comment suggest and just placate the other person by giving them what they want. And to a degree, we all need to do this, such as collaborative relationships. But the fact that you don't want to means that there's a greater gain by sticking to your primary needs. Now, I challenge you to question that and then decide if the gain is really worth it. In true NPD, you can lack empathy and feel entitled. However, that doesn't negate you having the capacity to determine your motivation, and if ultimately it is a successful one. For example, if doing a few things that you don't like gives you peace or a supply of love and validation, these may be more positive consequences than attaining anger from another. If anger makes you feel more empowered, then I guess there's your answer as to why you're doing it. The human nature is to do what works, whether you feel empathy or not, which then I ask you is the better result. You may have the emotions of empathy, most with NPD don't have, but you still would have a cognitive empathy where you can understand the repercussions of actions. If true supply is what you crave, and which delivers it better to you then, acting negatively or creating a positive outcome for those that you interact with. In a second case, which was posted by Falconic 2017, who asked, failure of things to let go. The title's pretty explanatory. Do you guys suffer from this? She says. Comment, I never forget an offence, even if it gets shelved. All the other good experiences slide away until nothing but the echoing of inferior specimens remains. If I so choose to listen and examine my own superior as well, of course. I've been able to process much of my past, but it really did a number on me beginning a decade and a half ago. Calloused myself to everything I could, applied understanding to some key areas, and made long overdue connections until it seemed like my defences and offences are most of what is left of me. That being said, I'm incapable of letting go of filth. I love that shit, evidently, Guess it just feels something like home, in a sick way. Most people view the world through their negative experiences. It is much easier to see our realities in a negative light because it becomes easier for us to frame ourselves as a protagonist. People want to believe the worst in other people. It's a defense mechanism by which we can stem our own disappointment in others by creating a generalization. What's important isn't to forget. After all, with forget comes forgiveness, something particularly difficult for those with NPD. However, they don't have to alter our present actions. You can be better. By all means, remember your mistakes. Remember the mistakes of others and how what they said made you feel. There is no error in the recognition of fault, but in repeating it. If we forgot our past, we'd be doomed to repeat it. But you can't allow yourself to obsess over it to the point that it alters every single action you take. Use your memories, your past, but let them burn cold so that you may use them, or else they'll burn hot and they're going to use you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share, and help someone else today.